grab me a beer and grab him a coke. We bout to sit for an hour, bullshit and tell jokes. And please don't mix it up, cause he done sobered up. Brandon T Comedy on your social media feeds. And Brandon Taz if it's your ex drinking buddy. Brandon Taz if it's your ex drinking buddy. Brandon Taz if it's your ex drinking buddy. Brandon Taz if it's your ex drinking buddy.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into another edition of Brennan Tassif is your ex-drinking buddy. I'm your host, Brennan Tassif. If you are new to the show, I'll give you a little rundown of the show. I used to be a raging alcoholic and do a lot of drugs and party a lot. And one of my favorite things to do was to hang out with buddies and talk shit, reminisce on old stories, kind of just think about the glory days. I'm sober now, coming up on 3 years sober, but I still, one of my favorite things to do with people is to tell old drinking stories, drug stories, getting in trouble stories. So hence the podcast, Brennan Tassif is your ex-drinking buddy. I will normally have a guest. Every once in a while I will do a solo show, but for the most part I will have guests in from all different walks of life, comedians, musicians, actors, just people I want to hear some of their drinking stories. And today is no exception. I am joined by hilarious St. Augustine comic, one of the sweetest of sweet boys, one of my very good friends that I like to talk Star Wars with, Mr. Topher Matheson. What's up, man?
Hey, man, what's up?
Nothing. How are you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm here.
You are here.
I'm here. Anytime I'm with you, 10 out of 10, good mood.
Appreciate that,
Every
man.
time.
I appreciate that. Go ahead, plug everything up front, all your social media, if you have any dates coming up, anything crazy you got going on out in the world.
Oh, man. I mean, I got nothing.
You just have, I know you guys do the Tiernog Room a lot, which we've talked about with Zach Bennett down in Daytona. That's Wednesdays at 10?
Yeah, Wednesdays at 10. I haven't seen Zach in a while.
Yeah.
You've seen Zach more recently than I have.
More recently than almost anyone, yeah.
Yeah.
He, go back and listen to his episode. It was real good.
I should.
We
it
talk
must be
about all
nice.
that.
Yeah.
We talk about all that. But plug all your other stuff. I know you're not a huge social media guy, but still let the people know where they can find you.
Yeah. I mean, it's just Instagram.
Okay.
At Go for Topher. Yeah. Go number 4 Topher M. That's
Go
it.
for Topher M, baby. That's good.
That's
I like
it.
that.
That's all I got.
So you are a comic. You have been doing comedy for how long now?
Coming on 4 years.
4 years. Oh God, you're so much funnier than me. You've been doing it almost more than or less than half the time.
I don't know.
I do. So what kind of, have you always been a fan of, because you're into, full disclosure to the listeners, you're into kind of, some people would say like nerd shit. Like,
yeah, 100%.
You are big into comics. I know you love movies, which isn't really nerd shit, but we get into arguments almost. We get into discussions.
It's happened a couple times.
About like super random. Like when I say movies, I'm not talking about like the MCU, even though that is something we discuss. I'm talking about like Kubrick, like weird, out of left field, like.
No, dude, one of the things I love about you is you're someone I can have an unironic conversation about Starship Troopers with.
Yes, a very, very unironic. I actually just rewatched that again.
I think you've
yesterday.
said that. I think you've said that every time I see you.
I love that movie.
Like, yeah,
dude.
man, I watched it yesterday.
You know how much I love that movie. I have it on my phone, so like if I'm doing stuff around the house, what I'll do is I'll put it on. I'll just put the audio on in my headphones, and then I just like will do the house stuff. I love that movie. Yeah,
the only time I've ever had a movie on a device like that was The Bourne Identity. And this was back on like an iPod. It was like a white
video
iPod.
Yeah.
And it was just this little, and I wanted to watch the Bourne movies for the first time.
So you watched it on that for the first time?
Well, here's the thing. It's like, my parents were all like, "Oh, you can't watch these movies," and that was the only way I was able to sneak it onto my iPod.
Okay.
But then the only time I tried to watch it, I was climbing a mountain. Yeah, there was this mountain where I lived, and we were hiking it. And
where was this?
This was in Costa Rica.
You lived in Costa Rica?
I lived in Costa Rica for 5 years.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, did you not know this?
No, I had no idea.
What?
You talk about being a chicken shepherd in your comedy. I never knew you lived in Costa Rica.
Yeah, chicken shepherd. It's chicken shepherding is way more of a Costa Rica thing than it is.
Was that in Costa Rica?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
So wait, where did you? So we'll get back on. So you, like I said, nerd. You love comics like I do. You love Star Wars like I do. Well, not as much as I do, but you still. We can have an open and honest conversation about it. But where did all this? I just assumed because one day I came back into comedy and you were there, and I was like, "Oh,
yeah,
Topher from St. Augustine."
Yeah, I thought you were new.
Yeah, a lot of people did. Like Emily Pancala told the story about how she was really pissed because she's like, "Why is this new guy getting booked?" And then they were like, "No, he was just gone for a little while. Like he's been doing this almost a decade."
Yeah, this guy had to figure something out.
Yeah, but so how did you move to St. Augustine on your own, or did your parents move there? Or, I'm so interested in this now.
Okay, so yeah, my parents are missionaries.
Oh my God, I didn't know that either.
Yeah, dude. Well, you knew my dad was a minister.
Yes, I did know that. Yeah,
yeah. So
you talk about that.
Yeah, I'm the son of a preacher man, and
son of a preacher man.
Yeah, exactly. And
so
yeah.
I know sometimes the audience hates when I do this because I'll get off track and I'll be like, no, tell me your life story. But just the Cliff Notes version.
Sure.
You're born.
Yeah, 9 years old. I don't really remember much before Costa Rica. We lived here.
In Florida.
Yeah, in this area.
Okay.
And
we're in North Florida for those listening.
Yeah.
We've got listeners all over the country, man.
All over the country?
No. I'm lying.
Get me back when you can say all over the world, all right?
All right.
No.
Shout out Diana Van de Kamp in Ireland. I know you're listening.
Nice.
Go ahead.
No,
9 years old. You're
9
in Costa
years
Rica.
old. My parents are like, we're moving to Costa Rica, and I was like, what's that? And then next thing I know, I'm in Costa Rica, and I live there.
You don't have a skin tone for Costa Rica.
No, not at all. Not at all. I can see every vein in my arm.
You're very.
It's like. It looks like a subway map. Yeah, I lived there for 5 years, and for a 6-month chunk of that, we lived in Guatemala. And then my dad's position in the ministry changed, and it was easier for him to do like networking stuff like back here. So he moved back here around when I was 15, and yeah.
So then you moved back to the North Florida area, Northeast Florida, and that's where you've just been this whole time? How old are you now, if you don't mind my asking?
I am 24 years old.
Okay, so you're still a baby.
Yeah, so but like that's the one thing living here has been is like I do and say weird things that people don't understand, and it's because I've completely acclimated to Costa Rican culture before I moved back.
Yeah.
So like I don't get foreigner treatment because they look at me and they're like, why is this guy acting weird? He has no excuse.
Yeah.
But
you're like, wait a second. All my formative years were spent in a different country.
It's like, yeah, if I said all this in a Spanish accent, everybody would be like, now this makes some sense.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
So where did the comic book shop come into play? Because your dad owned a comic book shop, correct?
Yeah. That was his like lifelong dream.
So he's doing the ministry thing. Gets a different position, so you decide to relocate to Northeast Florida, and at the time you're 15. When does the comic book? Did he buy that as soon as you moved? Had he had it, or what happened?
Yeah, so, this sucks. We sold our house in Costa Rica, and he used the money from the house that he sold.
Yeah.
He put all of that into the comic shop business.
Okay. Are you okay talking about this? Because I know you have the joke about it. But
yeah. You know how the story ends. It's okay.
That's why I'm like, I don't want you to like get upset or anything.
No, not at all. It's funny. It's funny how much I killed my dad's dreams. So way
to bury the lead. He sells the house, uses all that money, dumps everything into this comic book shop.
Everything.
Was this in St. Augustine?
All that extra money in the comic shop. It was on County Road 210, which was also where we were living at the time. So that worked out. But
where? I'm not familiar. Where?
It's actually the line between Jacksonville and St. Augustine.
Okay.
One side of County Road 210 is like St. Johns County. Across the street is St. Augustine.
Okay, got it.
So that's around where it is. And
so what happens? He says, "Hey, Topher, I need you to run the shop."
Yeah, well, I guess, he was busy with his real job, but he was like, I own a comic shop. It's run by my sons. He's very much,
Very proud.
yeah, that guy. He
Gotta
wanted
watch
to be.
out. That's
He
a
wanted
sin.
to be proud, and yeah. So I ran.
God smited him.
I ran that for like a couple years. I don't remember how long, but like in 2016. Yeah, so it would have been like 5 years.
Damn,
You know?
you went from a couple to a pretty long time.
Yeah, is 5 years a long time?
Yeah, and yeah, I would assume so.
Yeah. Well, it went from like it's one of those like it started in the garage
Yeah.
and then went to like a segment in a thrift store and then our own storefront. So really, those first 3 years I
Okay.
probably forget to count because I
Yeah.
wasn't like running a store. It was like
But then
we just have a lot of comics in our garage for no reason.
yeah, and then you get the storefront, and you're on County Road 210, right near the house. And he goes, "You know what, Topher? I
Yeah.
need you to run this store." And you say, "Of course, Dad. I would love
Of course, I would love to.
to." And what ended up happening? Was it just slow, or was it?
No, we were actually getting better and better. We were about to like break that threshold of like, how they say like most failed businesses end in like the first 2 years or
Yeah,
whatever.
And it takes like 3 or 4 years to start making a profit, all that kind of stuff.
We were about to cross that corner, which is the other, oops thing. But
So,
like what?
Yeah, what happened?
Well,
Oh God, this might be way worse than I thought.
well, no, the online business was like a hefty part of it too.
Yeah,
we did
I could
eBay
imagine.
stuff.
Yeah.
And I couldn't keep up with it. And we kept getting like, when you don't like have something or something gets sent to the wrong person, I made a lot of mistakes in that area. And so
Oh, no.
the users, but I was swamped because I was going to college at the same time.
Yeah.
So it was like eventually my dad, he gave me he was like, are you going to do this forever or are you going to like go to school and do something with your life? And he was like, I straight up understand if you want out of this to pursue something else.
But you're
And
fucking
then-
my dream up.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, no, he would never put it that way.
No, I know
He does
wouldn't,
not
yeah.
feel that way. I feel that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I ended up closing it and then still doing nothing with my life, but it's okay.
So
Those-
what happened to all the comics? Did your dad still have them, or?
Well, actually, this is the part that makes me feel the least bad about it at all is, we were like, all right, well, we got to sell the store.
Yeah,
Just the whole store,
sell everything. Yeah.
bundle deal to some other shop probably. Ended up trading all of our stuff to a guy for like 20 comic books. And this guy had some really really old, really awesome comic books. So my dad, while he does not have a shop or any of that money anymore, he does have a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1, which
he has like some super rare,
Yeah.
awesome comics.
which for those of you who do not know, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1 is like, that's really hard to find. That's one of the most sought after.
What are we talking
books
about?
out
Like
there.
$5,000, $10,000, $20,000?
At the time, I could have told you. I haven't been paying attention to the comic
market?
since. Hey man, you laugh. There's a
No,
whole
I trust me. I know,
there's
man.
a whole comic market, man.
So what? So how long ago was this that this happened?
That was 2016.
Okay,
And that was
so
also-
2016 is when it's closed.
That's when it closed, and I started comedy like 4 months later.
Did you start comedy because of everything that was happening? Like, were you like, or have you always been a fan of comedy?
Well, no, I haven't always been a fan of comedy. I was a fan of Seinfeld, and
Okay.
that was it. But
So where
Yeah.
did you Google it? Did you know Aaron and them?
I knew a local comic who went to my comic shop.
Who do you mind saying the name, or do you know?
Not at all. Joey Nickel.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I knew Joey, and Joey, through the comic shop, so social media. He started posting about shows. My friends and I were looking for something to do because we live in Jacksonville, and we started going. And
So
yeah, I eventually, there's nothing like seeing local comedy and then
Just-
thinking to yourself like, I can do that.
yeah. For the listeners, mint condition Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1 is selling for $53,000 on eBay. That looks like a buy it now. And then there's another one for $5,000.
Yeah, his is probably closer to the 5,000 one.
Yeah, but still, that's crazy.
Yeah, he's got that. He's got like the first appearance of Iron Man and
Damn.
other books like that. First Justice League #1, stuff like that.
Get
So,
out of
yeah.
here. That's so your dad made out.
That's what I'm
Especially
saying.
with the comic book boom since the Marvel universe.
That's what I'm saying.
So you meet Joey. Joey's coming into the shop because he's a big old nerd too, like the rest of us. And then you kind of are just like, oh, I can do this. And then you just... Did you do a lot of writing before? Because last week we had CJ Couch on, who I don't know if you've ever met him. He's a newer comic. He runs the CBD Cafe. That's the room that he started. But it was interesting because we had a whole conversation about, a lot of times when you go to your first mic or you go to try it for the first time, it's material you've been working on in your head for years. You might not even know you've been working on it, but it's just stuff that you think is funny. So was that, in your case, when you first tried it, did you crush or did you bomb or were you prepared or what happened?
I knew to write before.
Yeah.
I don't know how, but I did think to myself, like, it would be, the criticism that I have when I see people go up for the first time, and I am in no place to criticize anybody.
Oh, we do it all the time on this podcast. So
okay.
Open up, baby.
But I do, like, when you can tell they didn't write anything and they just have some things, like their friends told them they were funny and they go up.
Yeah.
And then they're just talking.
Yeah.
And nobody, like, knows what they're talking about. Like, I at least, and I look back at them, they're not good, but they're not bad either.
Yeah.
I look back at them and I'm like, honestly, if I had any of these ideas today, I'd still try it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I came in with stuff. I knew to write a joke.
Yeah. So did you crush? Do you remember what your first mic was?
I do. It was at Hourglass.
Okay, I remember Hourglass.
Yeah. I didn't crush. I was definitely nervous.
Which no one would be able to tell because your mannerisms are all the same. Always.
Yeah. That's the coolest thing about
I've
me.
seen you
I'm
go
the
up
same
hammered,
everywhere.
and I've seen you go up like completely sober. I'm like, same show.
Yeah.
Same guy.
Well, look, man, I'm a professional. That's no,
For those of you listening who have maybe not seen Topher, his material it's like I cheat. I use a lot of like boisterous, like yelling and like getting in the crowd's face.
Right,
It's a cheat. It's a cheat. It's a tactic.
I mean,
use,
not
though.
if you're good at it.
Yeah, and I try to, because I'm an intense guy, I try to, with my storytelling, I try to portray that to the audience. But none of that. You are a very prolific writer. Some of the stuff you come up with, I'm just blown away by. A lot of the stuff you come up with, I'm blown away by. But there's not a lot of movement. There's not a lot of, there's no yelling. You're just like, I don't care if the crowd's listening or not. It's da-dun, 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 and then boom, you get the laugh. And it's something to behold, especially because I'm such the opposite of that.
Yeah.
So I know you're getting weird because of the compliment.
I only bomb 50% of the time.
But your material, like that MLK bit that you had, that's still one of my favorite jokes, the domino stuff. But it's so cool to watch because sometimes the crowd will start getting rowdy. And like, to be honest with you, in my heart, I'm like, fuck, like, I don't know if he's going to be able to get the room. I
have the same thought.
Yeah. Oh, do you?
Every single time.
Because in my head, I'm like, shit, like if the crowd's rowdy and I'm up there, like, I'll start yelling at people, like getting their attention, like getting their face. But I shouldn't say you won't, but I've never seen you do any of that. But the super cool thing, though, is that, like, people will realize, like, oh, like, if we want to hear what he's saying, we have to kind of quiet down. And then you'll hit him with something, and then everyone will laugh. And I'm like, how the fuck did he do that?
I feel like you're talking about, like, Rain Dogs, like, before
this just
COVID.
happened at Veterans like 2 days ago.
Did this happen at Veterans?
This just happened at Veterans.
That happened?
Yeah, where you got, like, because everyone, like, because the first couple sets, weren't the best in the world, and everyone was kind of talking, and people were walking in, like, ordering beers and stuff. And from where I was standing in the back, I was like, shit, man. And then when you got up there, though, it was where I was in the back, like I said, because people are milling about, and the table right behind me would not shut the fuck up. And I was like, damn, man. And then you hit him with that first block that you were going to do, and everyone started laughing. And then the table behind me got quiet because they're like, oh, well, if everyone else is laughing, like, what are we missing? So then everyone kind of got quiet, and I was like, he just took entire control of this room without raising his voice at all.
Yeah, man. I
cool.
also don't know how I do that. That's
So you go and you do your first open mic, and then did you fall in love with comedy, or were you just no?
No. After the second time, I was like, I don't need to do this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I my first set went okay, and the only reason I ended up doing it, I wouldn't say the only reason. There's a lot of like reasons, but the reason that night that I wasn't gonna go up. And Joey was like looking for parking. He was like, hey, can you go in and write my name down?
Yeah.
I'm about to find a spot. And I was like, yeah, sure. I went in, I wrote his name down. And then he was like, cool, did you write your name down too? And I was like, no. And he went, what are you, chicken?
Oh, wow.
And he hit me with that chicken. And that was like just the last, I'm not like a macho guy that cares about stuff like that. But that was like the last little, just do it, dude.
Yeah, just that last
You
little
already
push
know that you kind of want to.
Yeah.
So
you know what they say, madness.
Yeah,
It's like gravity.
exactly.
Just takes a little push.
Actually, yeah, the way that Joey put it is he's like, look, man, if you're thinking about stand-up, then I'm just going to tell you something that every serial killer already knows. Eventually, you just got to do it.
Yeah.
So my first set was fine. It was, but it was still hourglass. So it's like I didn't really know how well I did because it was like low energy, a few people, just kind of chuckling at whatever. Second set is still probably the worst set I've ever had.
Really?
Yeah.
Where was this? Oh, I love bomb stories.
This was at.
I don't know if it counts because you were still so new, but I still.
Yeah. I mean, it was where was that? It was at one of Joey's shows.
Okay.
And I wasn't on it. I was just there to watch the show. It was one of those when Joey was putting on shows in like pizza restaurants.
Yeah. The Comedy Super Friends thing before it was Comedy Super Friends.
Yeah, but this was like a place like way out, like
Green Cove
further
Springs.
North. No, like way further north. This
wow.
was some other pizza shop that I don't know how anybody found because it wasn't next to anything. It was like way out. But
so you went there to support, and they asked you to do 5.
And Joey asked me if I wanted to, and again, kind of like the time before, it was like, well, why don't I just start saying yes to things? I'm a no person, Brandon.
Yeah,
I'm a no person most
default
of the time.
to no.
Yeah. But yeah, I went up and like I did those jokes and like 2 new ones, and all of them absolutely 0 the entire time.
No chuckles, no grin, nothing. Just
yeah. That was also the only time I have ever performed in shorts.
Oh,
and so I haven't.
Yeah, because when you walked in, I was like, "Hey, there's a mic tonight." You go, "I'm wearing shorts."
That's dude. I forgot there was a mic. Who knows? Maybe I'll break the streak. We'll see.
Not at this place, you won't. We're all gonna bomb, but you just might bomb in shorts.
Yeah. All right. You know what? I'll go bomb in shorts. Who cares? It's COVID. It's the end of the world. Whatever.
Who gives a shit? So after you do that, you said then you were pretty much done. You thought to yourself, like, I don't need to do this again.
I honestly don't remember why I went back the third time.
Okay.
Like, I couldn't tell you how I got from bombing that night to where I am now. That's like a blank spot in my mind for some reason.
See, and that's so fascinating to me because most of the people I have on the podcast are psychos about comedy, like I am. Like this is life. This is all I have. I'm too broken to do any kind of normal job. Like this is it. And then I've had a few people on, and Dan Venti was a great episode. We talk about, like, you get to a point, because he was doing comedy out west for like 9 years. And he got to a point where it's like, yeah, I'm doing a lot of these local shows, and I'm kind of in the scene, like, and everyone knows me in the scene.
Right.
But I want to keep doing this. I'm in a great relationship. I'm happy. Like, I could, move somewhere, get a regular job, like buy a house, start a family.
He was at the same crossroad I was at with the comic shop.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's interesting because the people I think of when they talk about stuff like that, I always think like, oh, well, they're they're obviously not going to be comics because you have to have like some sort of psycho drive in your head. But thank God I'm doing this podcast because I'm learning more and more that that's not the case. Like,
well, I mean, it might be. I'm not famous.
but that's true.
Yeah.
But as far as being funny on stage, like
Sure.
Dan blows
Sure.
me out of the water.
Right.
And he's very much like, yeah, I just do it every once in a while now. And you, like I said, your writing makes my storytelling look like dog shit. And again, I don't say that to like make you uncomfortable. I'm just saying, like with my stories, like I said, most of it is like my act outs and my yelling and my mannerisms and stuff. And for you, it's just like, no, these are the words. And if you listen to the words, you're going to laugh. And so, but for you to say like, I don't really need to do this anymore. And then fast forward 4 years, now you're headlining a lot of shows in the area, like the local shows and stuff. It's mind blowing to me. You just kind of just kept doing it.
Yeah. Well, the first I'll say like the upside / downside, like the downside to my thing and the upside to yours.
Yeah.
Where I lose and you win is you're less likely to lose bits to people.
Yeah. That's true.
I've lost a couple, and it's always good ones, obviously, because I always lose them to someone. You know, like I lost one to Mulaney. Ugh, that was a rough week.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, you know,
see, that's the other-
that's
yeah,
not going to
'cause-
happen to you telling your stories.
Yeah,
you're
because I
talking
tell
about-
stories.
You're talking
things
about
that
things that happen to you.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you know, that's
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 gotta
a
be
feather
hard.
in your cap, my friend.
Yeah, because with your writing and stuff, it's very prolific, but that means you're not the only one who's thought of that.
Yeah,
And-
and I come up with those all the time where I'm like, there's no way, but there's no way to search. Like, I'll search YouTube or Google to see if like any famous people have done it,
Yeah.
and if I can't find it, I do it, but I always have in the back of my mind, there's some other comic at my level doing this exact
Right
same
now.
joke
Yeah.
somewhere in this country.
Yeah.
So
That's oh my god,
that's
it's so
there's a
interesting. you
race
say that.
factor to that.
Yeah.
You know? Well, I mean, like you know, like a running race.
Yeah, no,
not
I know
like-
what you meant. It was
Yeah.
just funny the way it came out.
Yeah.
It's so awesome that you say that because there are certain times where, like, I've had a conversation with Daisy Tackett about this, who's been on the podcast, but we were talking about comics in New York and stuff, and she goes, Brendan, I'm just going to let you know I think she said it on the show. She goes, a lot of those comics talk about being sober and AA, and like that's a big talking point for comics up north. And I have a lot of material about that. And then I said, okay, that's fine, because then I can just talk about slicing my own face open. I was like, no, nobody has that. I guarantee you nobody has that story.
It would be the most insane thing ever if I for some reason visited New York and I saw a comic go up and he's like, yeah, so I used to be in football and I cut my face at a party to scare people, and then the coach was like, we need that kind of intensity on our team. I'd be like, oh shit, Brennan's
Brennan's
guess
going to
what?
kill somebody.
This isn't parallel thinking anymore. This is parallel living.
Yeah.
There's another one.
There's another one. But it's very interesting to me, the whole, because like that blows my mind with you being like, I couldn't tell you how I got. So you just kept doing it, and then.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably, I had a ride. I rode with Joey for a lot of them. So it was like, it wasn't taking anything from me to do it.
Okay, so you were almost just like kind of there, and you just kept going up. And...
Yeah, and then, I mean, like, part of the reason that I did it in the first place was because, like, I wanted to make movies. That was, like, my childhood dream.
Okay.
And in high school, I tried to make a movie with all my friends.
Did you really?
I really did. I wrote a whole screenplay. It is dog shit, but
Please tell me you filmed this and it's on YouTube or something.
I filmed some of it, but here was the thing: is this movie? I was working on this for like 2 years, like having written, having casted, all my friends be like,
it's your
guys,
Clerks.
let's make
yeah.
this movie. And for 2 years, people like dilly-dallied and like were like, oh, I can't today, oh, I got grounded, oh, this, that, the other. You know, when you ask someone, do you want to be in a movie, they always go, yes, 100%.
Everyone is going to do that. Yeah.
And then when you're like, all right, do you want to shoot on this day, you don't get anybody.
Yeah,
So,
it's the same thing
right.
with the podcast. People will come up to me and be like, "Hey, man, I want to be on your podcast. When can I get on the podcast?" And then I'll text them, and it's crickets, or it's like, "Oh, that doesn't work for me," or and then it's like, "All right, fine, then you're not going to be on the podcast."
So like I did that. I had that horrible experience, and eventually I was like, all right, so I can't make my movie because like people had graduated and like moved away.
Oh,
and
man.
I was just like, and it was, of course, it was the people I had already like
started filming
that I had filmed and the people that cared the most. So I was just like, whatever. And then I had like one buddy who was the director. I just wrote it.
Yeah.
And he was directing it. And he was like, well, maybe you and I can work on something, just you and me. And I was like, cool. And so we started filming sketches.
Okay.
And, we thought we were funny. We weren't, but we thought we were. And so we made sketches that we thought were funny. And then there was a falling out in that group of like 4 dudes somehow. And eventually I just said like, all right, so working with people obviously doesn't work. So stand-up was something that I looked at and I was like, I can do that all by myself.
Yeah, and that's actually one of the big draws
how
for
I
me
ended
too.
up there, yeah.
Yeah. So that's okay. That's so interesting. That's bananas. And you're not, so a lot of the people we've had on the podcast don't really drink that much. So it's kind of interesting because you do not shy away from boozing. You love it. I do. I don't look like I do. No, you
but
don't,
I do.
which is why it's so fun because I remember going to Rain Dogs pre-pandemic or like even sometimes now, and we're going to get into the story about the Daytona show, but where I'll see you and like you'll get like a big grin on your face and I'm like, all right, who gave Topher a beer?
Yeah.
Like what's going on here?
Yeah, that's something that Daisy kept saying there, which it's funny you brought up Daisy. I talked to her today, actually.
Oh, okay.
I love Daisy. But yeah, she kept saying at Rain Dogs, she'd be like, who keeps giving Topher beer?
Yeah.
Like every week.
Because I remember, and it's a lot of fun because like you said, you're not like a bro-y dude or like a macho, or you're not coming in like, let's do shots. You're just real, inconspicuously like in the back, just drinking on a beer. And then you'll walk up and you'll be like, hey guys.
Yeah. Well, listen, I spend a lot of time in my brain.
Yeah.
And so, drinking's like, all right, that's like when you're like in your bedroom and you're like, I'm tired of my bedroom being like this, and you rearrange everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what drinking is.
Yo, trust me, I know. I say it all the time. I had to it helped. It's the biggest thing to help quiet all the fucking noise.
Exactly.
But then eventually for me, because you drink like a normal person, I drink like a psycho, and it eventually stopped working. But the thing I definitely want to talk about. So we were at Rob Rowick's room.
The Hideout
Lounge in Daytona Beach, right off of Derbyshire. If anybody's listening in Daytona, go check that place out every third Saturday of the month.
Yeah, I think every third Saturday is the showcase.
Yeah.
And that show is consistently good.
Yeah,
it's a good show.
It's always fun. And I went down there because Marcus was closing out. It was last month or 2 months ago now. And so I was like, oh, I'll go down there. Like I happen to have that Saturday off from work. So I was like, I'll go down there and see what's going on. So we go down there. We're all hanging out and running a little late. In comes Topher. And I turn and I see you. And you just opened your arms up with this big old smile. And I was like, okay, so Topher's been drinking.
Yep.
And I gave you a hug. And then I sat down and you leaned in. And you go, hey, man. And I was like, what's up, Topher? And you go, I just puked all over my shoes. And right as you said that, Rob was like, ladies and gentlemen, your next comedian coming to the stage, Topher Matheson. And I was like, what the fuck just happened?
All right. Do you want context?
Yeah, I want to know what
you want
happened.
my side of the story? Okay, so I was not supposed to be on that show.
Yeah.
I had my cousin over, and we were in my apartment, and we were throwing them back, just chilling. I'm like, yeah, man, I got nowhere to be. And then we're just drinking a lot. And then I get a phone call from Rob. And I answer the phone. I'm like, what's up? Yeah. And, and Rob's like, hey, man, I had a dropout. Do you want to come and do some time? I should have said no,
Yeah.
because I was very drunk. But instead, I was like, hell yeah, man, I'll come do some time. And then as soon as I hung up the phone, I turned to my cousin and I was like, we have to stop drinking right now. Like, I can't even finish this beer that I started because I have to drive in an hour.
Oh my god.
So I'm sitting there, I'm like doing the sober up tricks,
Yeah.
which for me is just sitting there and waiting it out. I don't have any tricks, but yeah. And then it was like, oh, well, we ordered a pizza. That should help.
Yeah.
Pizza got there. I ate the pizza. I stand up. I'm still like all dizzy.
Wobbly.
Yeah. And I was like, guys, I don't have a choice. I got to go puke. So
I thought you were going to say I don't have a choice. I have to do the show. But I mean, that's the same thing.
yeah,
You're like,
yeah, both.
Yeah.
Both. Yeah.
See, you are committed.
I went to the bathroom. Well, I'm committed to friendship. I made Rob a promise. I go into the bathroom and I make myself puke, which was way easier than I thought it would be, because it was the only time I've ever done that.
Oh, really?
And then
when I used to drink,
it went everywhere.
Yeah.
It went everywhere.
Projectiles. Yeah. You get all that loose liquid in your belly.
I got it all over my shoes, and then I just walked out, and I was like, let's go. I left all the vomit in the bathroom. I was like,
you son of a bitch.
I didn't have time. I left all the vomit on my shoes. I didn't even wipe off my shoes. I didn't have enough time. So that's why I was late. I was like trying to get ready.
I'm glad you got there safely.
Yeah. I was feeling all right by the time I was on the road, but yeah.
But it's just full circle. You say that to me, and then you go on stage, and I'm like, he's gonna eat a dick. Like, this is gonna be horrible. You did great. It was same set.
Same
thing you always
remember.
do. Well, it was just like one of those things where it's like, you get up there, there's the same kind of same everything, and it's like, oh my god, like the fuck. Because when I used to get drunk and go on stage, I would do like one setup, then another punchline, and then I'd do like an Arnold impression for like 10 minutes when I was only supposed to do 7 minutes in the first place, and it was a mess. But you got up there, didn't even know what was going on, and you're just like, so I used to be a chicken shepherd.
Yeah.
This is my life. Oh, it was great.
Yeah, dude, I did my best.
You speaking of drinking and driving, you did tell me before we started that you had almost gotten a DUI.
Oh yeah, this is fucked up. So I'm at this is a night that I went to Tiernanog.
Okay.
Right. So I'm always there super late because I just enjoy hanging out with everybody. So it's like 3 a.m. before I leave to
Holy
go
shit.
home. Here's the thing. I had 2 beers. Only 2 beers like when I got there. So that was at like
5 hours before.
10. Yeah. So I'm not drunk. I was a little high. But I was fine.
Yeah.
I was fine. I was comfortable driving. The thing that I had underestimated was how tired I was.
Okay.
So I'm driving home. I almost make it home. And
what's the drive from Tiernanog to your house?
It's from
like 15 minutes, 30 minutes?
Oh, it's like an hour.
Oh, it is still an hour. Okay.
And I go on like US 1 the whole time.
Okay.
Just straight from Daytona to downtown St. Augustine, because that's where my apartment is.
Yeah.
And I'm driving, and I start to get drowsy, and swerves start happening, but I'm like, I'm still awake. This is fine. And then at some point, when I'm like getting like I'm like 5 miles away from home.
Yeah.
There's like a one of those blinks that was like longer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like a legitimate doze off.
That shit's so scary, man.
Woke up, red light, car in front of me. I hit the brake, and I make it just enough. I brake just enough that the whiplash sends my car to just nudge the guy, and then like backs off.
Yeah.
So like,
you were right. Like you made it though. Like
I made it.
Yeah.
But I did technically bump him.
You gave him a little kiss.
Yeah. Guy comes out. He did not want a kiss from me. He gets out. He's like, "What are you doing? Are you high?" And I was like,
"That's his first go-to."
Yeah. I was like, "No, but I was earlier." But no, he. This guy's all like, "What are you, high?" He's out of his car, and he's like, "You're swerving all over the road," and I'm just so sleepy, and I'm just sitting there. I'm like, I'm not gonna say anything to him.
Yeah.
You know, and then a cop pulls up behind me.
Oh, what bad timing.
And and then the guy starts talking to the cop, and then she was
So wait,
like,
this guy knew
yeah.
you. This guy saw you swerving.
Yeah, he was just the car in front of me for like a while.
Oh, okay, so he's like looking in his rear view, like, look at this fucking guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. And then I hear the only part of their conversation I hear is the cop saying like, yeah, I noticed he was swerving too when he drove by. And I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
So the cop comes to me and she's all like, yo, what's the deal, man? What's going on?
What's the deal?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. What's the deal with getting a DUI when you're not drunk? She was asking me all these questions, and the question that they ask you is, have you had anything to drink tonight?
Yeah.
And I was like, I had 2 beers like 6 hours ago, which I didn't know was the most commonly used line by drunk
2 beers
people.
like forever ago.
Yeah. So she didn't believe me at all, and she was like, you need to wait for I'm just a trooper, you need to wait for a constable to get here. And she was basically like, hey, you need to wait for the arrest police to get here.
Yeah, that's.
And I was like, shit. So this guy comes
because the troopers don't do any of that stuff.
Yeah, not at all. They just are annoying. And so the other cop gets here, and eventually other cops show up too.
Always. They always fucking do that.
Always do that. I actually had an old bit about this where it was like, I think being a cop is boring. You ever see one car pulled over and then 5 cop cars behind it? That's one cop pulling someone over for speeding and then 4 other cops going, hey, what's he got going on?
That's a great bit.
Yeah. Maybe I'll bring that one back. But
I always when I got every time I've been arrested 8 times, and every time it's, for some reasons I understand why there's overkill. Like I understand why they're calling backup for the reason I was arrested.
Like if the car's full of drunk people.
Well, no. I'm talking about like I'm like at a bar in a fight, like screaming at cops, like slamming my head into things, breaking shit. Then I get backup. I get it.
Yeah.
But like my first DUI, like I literally had gotten. I was coming home from a bar with a girl, and I was like turned to her, talking to her, like trying to like make my move, and the light turned green. And I didn't notice it because I was talking to the girl. My head is turned. And then I look up and I go, oh, shit. And I started to go. I get lit up because they saw me wasted coming out of the bar. So they were just waiting. They have to have a reason to pull you over.
Right. Like being stopped at a green light. Too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they can't just be like, oh, we pulled him over because we thought he was drunk. Like you have to be swerving, or they have to have a reason for the traffic stop. So they pull me over, and I'm like, yeah, you got me. Like I'm dead to rights. Like, yeah, I'm hammered. Like you knew I was hammered. But then when I go to get out of the car, I turn. There's like 6 cop cars. And I'm like,
yeah,
this seems excessive now.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, for me, little drowsy old me in a car by myself. Yeah, they didn't need that. There were 3. There were 3 cops. I'm lucky that the one that showed up first was the one that showed up first. Because this guy, he walks up to the car. He does the same questions that the other cop did to assess his own situation. And then he was like, all right, man, I'm going to be honest with you. That guy thinks you're drunk. She thinks you're drunk. I think you're drunk. But I'm going to be honest with you. I really don't give a shit.
Oh, really?
And so he was like, I'll tell you what. You put your car in that parking lot. You have a friend come get you and you can go home.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. So he says that. So.
But wait a second. If you would have blown, it would have came back way under the legal limit.
See, this is the funny thing is I wasn't even drunk, but here was my attitude. I was like, all right, this is a weird situation. It seems like the solution is I am tired anyway, which you shouldn't be driving when you're this tired.
Yeah.
Anyway. So I was like, all right, so the situation is I'm already out. If I don't say anything else, Nick, my roommate, another comic.
Yeah. Hilarious.
Very funny dude. Yeah. Love him to death. Nick can come get me and take me home. We're like 5 miles from our apartment anyway. Yeah. I was like, all right, so this thing.
Worst case scenario, you can even walk at this point.
This cop gave me an out. I'll take it.
Yeah.
So he escorts me to the parking lot, and he's like, you got someone to call? And I call Nick. I explain the situation. And Nick's
Did you
like,
say, hey, Nick, these fucking dumbass pigs think I'm drunk. Come get
I
me.
was just like, hey, man, whatever. And
That's what you said?
That's
He's like, I'll be right there.
yeah, he knew exactly what was going on. I told him if I ever say, hey, yeah, whatever, he's like, oh, the shit, that means he got pulled over. No,
Shit's going down.
so Nick's like, I'm on my way. So this is when the two other cops decide to come and talk to me. And they come and talk to me, and they're just like, what are you doing driving like an asshole when you're drunk? They start berating me and like yelling at me about shit that I'm not doing. And I'm just sitting there not drunk, and I'm just taking it.
Yeah.
Like, whatever.
Oh, my God.
And
that
then
makes me so frustrated.
and then here's the thing. Nick, while I love him to death and he's my best friend, he is never on time for anything. And so it eventually...
Shots fired at you, Nick.
It's just the truth. He eventually wasn't making it soon enough that the cops thought I was trying to get away with something.
Yeah.
And they were like, we can't leave until your friend picks me up. I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm frustrated. He's not here also. And they're like, let me call him. And they called him. Nick didn't pick up. And they were
so
like...
now it literally looks like you've, like, lied.
Yeah, so this one cop is like, tell your fucking friend Nick, if he's not here in 10 minutes, you are going to jail. And I was like, fuck. And then eventually Nick saw the missed call, and he calls me back, and he's like, yeah, man, I mean, I just left the house. And I was like, are you... Yeah. Oh my God.
Oh.
So... The only thing that saved me was the other cop, the one that like wasn't the cool cop. He wasn't the asshole cop. He was kind of in the middle. He was frustrated with me, but he was like,
so wait, was the woman cop the asshole?
She left.
Oh, she had already left.
Yeah, she was a trooper. She just left.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, you did.
Yeah,
say
they
that.
don't let women handle shit like that. Hey, jokes. Yeah, that was such a joke. That was definitely
no. It's
not...
getting clipped way before you say jokes. That was a joke.
That was definitely not something that I honestly believe at all.
You can say all you want. Most everyone only watches the clip. They don't listen to the whole thing.
Oh fuck.
So
whatever. People can think that about me.
So there's three cops: cool cop, asshole cop, and then
and then the guy in the middle says, "Call a cab."
Yeah, do something.
And
Get an Uber. Do something.
Watched me call a cab. So they're like, this cab's coming. Nick gets there before the cab does. And and then I got to go home. But it really was like, I got yelled at for being drunk the most. This is the most I'd ever yelled at for being drunk. And I wasn't even drunk.
God, that's so frustrating to hear.
I know. It was annoying, man. I just kept sitting there like, I really wanted to say, like, I'm not even drunk. But then I was like, I didn't want to push anyone's buttons.
Yeah, no,
you're
kind of, it's weird because you're kind of stuck in that situation where it's like, even if I'm and I learned this the hard way by being arrested, even if you're technically right, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like I've told, I think I've told this story before, but like I had a woman, doesn't matter if she's a woman. I had a cop in South Florida. Just since you said that, now it's on top of mine. I had a cop in South Florida. Yeah, we were having a big party. Cops got called. She bangs on the door. I'm pre-law, so I think I know everything there is to know about law. And she goes, well, we're coming in the house, and we're going to ID everyone in there. And if there's kids drinking underage, whoever's name is on the lease is going to jail. So I snap, and I go, like, you're not coming into my fucking house without a warrant. Because in my head, I'm like, technically, I am correct in the sense that unless you have probable cause, you can't just walk into my home. So technically, I'm right. But it doesn't fucking matter.
No, yeah.
Like, I still got arrested, and I got arrested for something that got thrown out. But it didn't, like, it doesn't, the night is still over.
This is something whenever guys want to say like, like, oh, but you were in the right. I'm like, yeah, but if I fight it and we're in a court, who's really winning though? Who's everyone gonna believe?
Well, not only, that's 100% true, but not only that, but it's like, was it worth it? Like,
yeah,
you could have just kept your mouth shut. It's the same thing happens working in a restaurant. And I know you know this from the shops, like customer service. It's like,
for sure.
You could tell someone something 10 times, and then they'll come back and say, hey, this is wrong with it. And you'd be like, yeah, I told you that. No, you didn't. Yeah, I did.
Exactly.
No, you didn't. And it doesn't matter. You get a 1-star review on Yelp. Like in my case, they talk to a manager, they call corporate, and it's like, now I'm in the wrong. It's like, but I'm not wrong. Like I was fucking right.
Yeah. That's happened to me a couple times at my current job. I have 2 1-star reviews just because I have a hard time answering stupid questions.
Yeah. And like DUI story gives me anxiety, especially because the whole time I'm thinking you're wasted and you got away with it, but you weren't. You weren't even drunk, so that's why it's like super frustrating.
Yeah. That's
where do you work at now? Do you want to say or no?
No, yeah, I work in another comic shop.
I know, that's why it's so funny.
Yeah, I work in another comic shop from someone whose son isn't a disappointment, and.
Tags for days, baby. Tags for days.
It's pretty chill. It's a 10-minute walk from my apartment. It's that's the best part of my life. If you want to increase your life by like
your quality of life,
your quality of life by like 30%, work somewhere that's within walking distance from your house. It's the best.
Yeah. That's got to be awesome because you can just be like, oh, I got to be at work. I can wake up like 15 minutes before I have to be there.
I don't wake up earlier than 10:30 every day.
What time do you open the shop?
11.
Oh wow! See, that's great.
Yeah,
you can't beat that.
Not at all. Not at all. My life is pretty good right now.
So, I can't believe you. The 1-star reviews though, that was over dumb shit. I kind of want to know.
It's questions like this is a popular thing. Is people will walk in and they'll ask something like I don't even remember which specific thing it was, but they'll walk in and be like, do you have Spider-Man? And here's the reason that's a stupid question. Is there are comic books, statues, action figures, all kinds of stuff. Mythical Mountain, check it out. No, but there's all kinds of stuff in there. So when somebody says like, hey, do you have just the name of something?
Yeah.
I go like, well, what are you looking for? And they go, anything. And then I have to take a moment. They're like, where's anything Spider-Man? I'm like, anything Spider-Man is all over the store.
Yeah.
I can't break away from the counter and give you a tour. Like just like if you tell me action figure, Spider-Man action figure, I'm like, I know exactly where that is. But if you say, I want to see every Spider-Man you have in this place, I'm like, no. Yeah. Like I can't do that. Like,
and then you get a 1-star review on Yelp.
Yeah, one time a guy walked in, he didn't even ask a question. He just looked at me and said Jeff Goldblum. And I was like,
you talked about this on stage.
Yeah, I
didn't you?
did talk about this on stage once. This guy was just like Jeff Goldblum, and I was like, what about him? He was like, ugh. Like he was put out that I had a follow-up. He was like, where is Jeff Goldblum? And all of a sudden,
you have to bring this back.
All of a sudden, the whereabouts of Hollywood icon Jeff Goldblum is on me. It's like, dude, I don't even know the guy. And it turns out, no, this is the part. I'll finish the bit. This is the part that kills me. This is the part is he looked in the store. He finds a Jeff Goldblum action figure from like Jurassic Park or something. And he was like, see? And now I'm annoyed because I know that he left that interaction thinking, this works. I will definitely be doing this more places. Just going in and just saying two words. Like he's going to go into KFC and be like, Colonel Sanders. Like, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, that's how the thought went.
Jeff Goldblum. Oh, I forgot about that bit. That's so funny. So we could do a whole podcast, and the next time you come on, we will, about Jaws. You do have some interesting takes. Speaking of comic books and nerds and idiot people, what you just wrote down Jaws. So I didn't know.
Yeah. Well, most of the time when I get drunk, usually with my cousin, it's just me talking about the Jaws franchise for a very long time.
Okay, so that's like one of your drinking habits. What about everyone on this podcast knows mine is like watching movies or taking shots alone to Burn Notice.
Right, yeah.
Yours is Jaws.
Burn Notice? Really, man? You still watch that?
I've seen every episode like 10 times.
Oh, wow. Yeah, no.
It's a tag in some of my bits.
For sure. Oh, is it?
Fuck you. So why is it when you get drunk you want to discuss Jaws? What about Jaws?
I don't know. I don't know.
Are you a super fan or do you hate it? Do you have critiques of it?
I love Jaws. The whole franchise is fascinating to me because like okay, Jaws 1. Masterpiece. We can all agree. Jaws 1, one of the greatest movies of all time. Every time I watch it, I feel fulfilled. It's a great movie.
It is a great movie.
It's a great movie. The second one, it's a follow-up.
It's no T2 when it comes to sequels.
Exactly. It's not reinventing the wheel, but it's got some fun stuff in it. And then, the third one is like really, really, really bad. Like it's really bad. Well, but it's in 3D.
That's true.
So that's you get to laugh at bad 3D. And then the fourth one is just as bad, but there is a character in it that's a comedic relief. He's this Jamaican guy, and he's the greatest thing ever. I watched that movie just for him.
Yeah. And
then Jaws 5, I don't believe that anybody has actually ever seen.
I was going to say, I didn't even realize they made a fifth one.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I think I have a theory that absolutely nobody in the world has seen Jaws 5.
Well, we're going to hear about it. The listeners are going to write in.
Yeah, and I've been thinking, I think this is why I like to talk about it when I'm drunk, because I have a pitch for Jaws 6.
Okay.
That I get into when I'm drunk, and if I'm drunk, it's at least, it doesn't sound like I'm sincerely trying to push it, even though I do sincerely want to see this Jaws movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, the idea is Jaws in space.
Okay.
Yeah, Jaws in space,
Give me the elevator pitch.
Right? Okay. All right. You got astronauts. They're on a moon base.
Yeah.
They have to get to another moon base to go home. But there's this space shark just floating around. And this is like some space shark god, right? That has a telepathic connection to all the sharks back on Earth. So it remembers the propane tank, the power line, the dynamite, whatever the fuck they did in Jaws 5. It remembers all of that. So this space shark is out for blood, yes or no?
Yes, I'm in.
Right?
100%.
Yeah, 100%.
Please tell me you say this whole pitch on stage.
I have never said any of this on stage.
That is a fantastic bit, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hear me out, guys.
Hear me out, guys. Space sharks.
So, another thing you like to do when you get drunk is not only talk about Jaws, but you did just write down women's clothing.
Yeah, okay. Well, yeah.
I said, don't tell me anything. Say it on the podcast.
Okay, so apparently this is a move that I do. So Jaws is like if I'm drunk with friends. The women's clothing thing it's only been like a couple times where I'll go home with someone and I'm drunk and I just raid their closet in front of them.
Okay.
And I just put their clothes on and I think I'm being cute and funny. 2 times it was like, oh, whatever, this is funny. 2 times they were like, get the fuck out of my
Oh my God, are you serious?
No, I never got sent home over it, but they were like, seriously, please stop doing this.
Oh, so they got like you're being like
one of them was so
Topher
upset. I thought I was like, am I about to find a body in here? Like what? Yeah, but
so what? You just get there and you're like, where's your closet? And you just start going.
Oh,
through
I don't have to ask. I know where it is.
Yeah, it's easy
I
to find.
just walk in. I'm like, oh, there's clothes, and then I just start putting them on. And
you're petite, so you could probably fit into some of that.
Yeah, I've never had a problem fitting into a bra. Yeah.
So twice it was kind of like, oh, ha ha ha, Topher's so cute and he's funny. Yeah. And then twice it was.
I mean, they were never like into it. There were just cases where someone was like, I'll indulge this idiot.
Yeah.
For however long he wants to do this. Those were the nice girls. Yeah.
God, I can't believe that backfired on you.
Yeah.
And I don't even say that sarcastically.
Actually, I can.
But, well, it's just one of those things where, like, if I'm with someone, like, I discovered this the other day.
A lot of these are like, I met them that night, though.
Okay. That's the kicker. Okay.
Yeah,
yeah, because I'm the kind of person where, like, I don't like if I'm doing like a one night stand type of, obviously not anymore because I'm with Savannah, but before, like if I was doing one night stand things, like I am super self-conscious. So like I always try to like play it super cool. So the only time I ever do dumb shit, like I do dumb shit all the time now. Like I do that. I'll come out of the shower.
You're in like a solid thing.
Yeah, so like I'll come out of the shower and do the Ace Ventura thing, like the talk with my butt, but I'm completely naked, so she just sees my butthole.
Yeah,
which I think is hilarious.
No, but then your butthole is hilarious. I've heard it tell a joke. Yeah,
but then there are certain there are certain things that I'll do, and she's like Savannah, who I've been with for years, who gets that I'm broken and I'm twisted, and I have a weird sense of humor, and she'll even be like, "Okay, no," and I'm like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah.
And I think she's being like almost, what's the word I'm looking for? I think she's being like a prude. But this happened the other day. I was with the Clam Jam, Morgan and Marcus and myself at Veterans.
Legends.
But we were outside, and I told them of this one thing that I do because I had the testicle surgery, so I have a little bit of loose skin. So I'll take the skin and I like fold it up over my penis. And I think it's hilarious. And I told them that, and they both looked at me sincerely and were like, "Don't ever do that."
No, do that. That is hilarious. I agree.
Thank you. So this is very much, and the listeners probably like, "Where the fuck did this come from?"
I take back that thing I said about them being legends. No, that's awesome.
So, but this is to bring it all the way back around. This is like you trying the women's clothing, but the balls you got to have to do it with someone you don't like. I've been with Savannah for a long time, and I still do shit where she's like, "No, don't do that." So to not even really know these girls before you know you're gonna like.
I think in my drunken logic, what it is I'm like, all right, well, they didn't bring me home because I'm good looking.
You're cute.
We don't. I'm like, I'm not like, you don't look at me though and be like, this is a bring home guy.
No, that's me.
You know, like you don't spot me from across the bar. I'm 5'7". You look right over me at the hot guy, and
me standing behind you,
exactly,
making jokes.
That's telling good ones.
The douchiest thing. Oh, fuck you! You got me.
Yeah,
I was about to burn myself, and then you burned me.
Oh, dude, no, man. Yeah,
Topher's being sarcastic. I hope.
No, man. I was burning myself.
No, you were saying that I don't tell good jokes.
No. I said you're there telling good ones.
Yeah, but you said it in that Topher tone of voice, like go fuck yourself.
See, no, this is a curse I'm under. Nobody can tell if I'm ever serious or being sarcastic.
Actually, that's a fantastic segue.
Yeah, I
want to get into the final story that you have.
Oh wait, but.
Finish the bra thing.
Yeah. My point was just that, you know, if I'm there and I'm drunk, my thought is like, they brought me here because I'm funny.
Yeah, if you can
I
make
should
them
think
laugh,
of something funny to do instead of. And this is where like the words fail me when I'm in that situation because it's like I'm drunk, and I'm just looking at this person that wants to do this thing, and I'm just like, oh, well, I can't, you know, I'm not going to be a quick-witted guy. I'll just put your clothes on. Like,
that'll solve it.
You know, it's like I'm some hack, like, is this anything? You know, just putting on their clothes.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, nobody can ever tell if I'm being sarcastic or serious. It's a problem a lot of the time, actually.
Yeah. And it was a big problem.
This one time.
In
this story with no names in it. Please.
Yeah, we're going to leave the names out of it.
Yeah.
But I do want to get your side of the story about what happened.
Well, okay. I do not I'll say going in, I'm not the hero of this story. So I'm drunk at a comedy show, and you know, I told a guy to go fuck himself.
Yep.
I flicked him off, and as I was walking away to get another beer, you know, I couldn't tell you. If I'm being completely honest, that night I couldn't tell you. An overarching, like, you know, this guy and me not being on the same page, like, yeah, that's
been like,
that's been a thing, but it's like, you know, that
particular night you were just
I
drinking,
couldn't tell
having
you.
a good time,
and
you were,
you know, I was drunk enough to look at someone and be like, you know, that guy with a face tattoo probably isn't insane. So I flick him off. And then I go to get another beer. And then as I'm walking back past him, he says, "Don't play with me." And then I just look at him and I go fuck yourself. And then I just walk back into the comedy room. And then this guy follows me back. This is the only time drinking has like really gotten me into trouble.
Yeah, because we talk about this on this podcast all the time. Is there's certain people where, like you just got done saying, like you can never tell if they're joking or they're serious. But then there are people where like if you do that to, because I'm one of those people. Yeah. Like if I'm drinking and somebody fucks with me, it's like, oh no, that's not how this is gonna go.
Right. But here's the thing: the other guy was not drunk, so that's where he fails in this story. But he follows me to the back. I already like. I don't want to say like I forgot, but I already put it out of my mind.
Yeah,
like
you're not
that
even thinking about it.
Yeah, and then he just comes up to me. He's like 3 times my size. Both hands like just thrusts both his arms into me with like all his strength. I fly back like 4 feet, hit a ladder. It falls on top of me, and it fucking it hurt.
Yeah,
it hurt a lot. And yeah, I remember as I was getting up, I was like, "Do you think I hurt his feelings?" I remember saying that like as somebody was helping me up. But after the incident, you know, like one of my friends was like, "Man, one day that mouth of yours is going to get you into a lot of trouble." I was like, "Yeah, it was today, dude."
That's another bit, man.
Like, it just happened, man.
You keep sneaking bits on me.
It just happened.
Yeah.
Like that's why we're talking.
You gotta bring
about
that
it.
one back
like,
too.
yeah.
You gotta bring that. I remember you doing that on stage.
Yeah, I don't know. I learned something very important about myself that night, though. Something very important about myself. I learned that if you want to beat someone up and see absolutely no consequences or repercussions for it whatsoever, I'm your guy. You can beat me up. It is hilarious how much absolutely nobody has my back whatsoever.
Nobody gave a shit.
Everybody, you know, you can beat me up in a room full of my friends. This has been tested, everyone. You can beat me up in a room full of my friends, and somehow people will still be more mad at me. They're like, "We're so done with this sarcastic asshole." Yeah.
I mean, you say beat up. You got pushed.
I got shoved, but it fucking hurt.
No, I know.
It fucking hurt.
It's just weird when you say beat, because like I've been beat up.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying that that's what happened. I'm just saying that's I'm just saying even if that did happen,
they would be like, "Well, keep your fucking mouth shut, Topher."
Yeah, exactly. People still not give a shit. You wouldn't even have to stop at beating me up. You want to kill me? You want to kill me? Go ahead, do it. My friends have made it painfully clear that they don't care. You can kill me.
Don't say that.
No, I'm going to say this. You know, it's like, all right, I'm walking around. I think my body belongs to me. And they're like, no, it also belongs to this asshole whenever he wants to inflict pain on it. Yeah, that's fine. Yes. You want to kill
I
me?
Didn't mean
No,
to get
listen.
you all riled up,
No,
Topher.
listen. You want to kill me? I promise you that God himself will look at me and be like, "No, that guy's staying dead." Like, there's not going to be any miracle surprises going his way. This asshole can take his...
Don't say that.
This sarcastic piece of shit can take his jolly ass straight to hell.
I was not there that evening.
Yeah, I know.
But I would have brokered a
I know.
piece.
No, I'm being an asshole right now. But, you know, at the time, this is what was stirring around in me.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a shitty feeling to be like, in the words of Hancock, Will Smith's Hancock.
Yeah, not the real one.
I know I'm an asshole, but nobody.
Yeah.
You know, that's exactly what he says at the dinner table.
Yeah.
And that's a powerful. I replay that sometimes and still think, man, if I was drinking, I'd be doing shots to this.
Yeah, me and Will Smith have a lot in common.
I know. And on that note, thank you so much, Topher, for coming out for the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Go for Topher.
Yeah, go. You know, if you know how to spell go, and then it's the number 4, and then it's Topher if you know how to spell Topher, and then it's the letter M.
All right, and it's a PH, not an F in there for Topher.
Yeah, PH.
Well, thank you so much for coming on, buddy. This was a lot of fun. I'm glad we got this done.
I had a great time. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Subscribe, rate, and review to the podcast, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. You know all my stuff at Brennan T Comedy on all social media. Check out the website, BrennanTComedy.com, for upcoming dates. Like I said, tell your friends, subscribe, rate, and review. Shoot me a email if there's anything specific you want to talk about or have on. I'm just rambling now.
Yeah, man, it's your castle. Do whatever.
Yeah, that's true. It is my podcast. Anyway, thank you everybody so much for listening. We will talk to you all again next week.